Hello, welcome back. You're here with Crystal Tottenham from Crystal Clear Coaching. We are now on day 20, 21. Oh, I should know this. I'll put it in the caption. Of tuning in to ourselves with a bit of what I call flow posting. What I mean by that is that I just show up here on a more or less daily basis for the month and just see what conversation starts from the many tools that I've learnt, the many lessons I've learned in my life, experiences I've had, and just anything that might provide insight as to how you can actually take time and look into yourself and notice things for yourself and tune in to you. And you actually don't need an external source, which you could view as me in this instance, to tell you how to tune in. You actually do know how to do it, but sometimes we just need the extra nudge, extra encouragement of an external source to then realize that we internally get to decide what we do with our lives, the way that we show up, the way that we perceive things. There is actually choice to that, and sometimes it can feel like you don't have a choice, but there is a beauty to realizing, having that perspective shift of realizing that you can choose. You might not be able to choose the external sources and what's going on and what's been happening for you. That can be completely out of your control, but you can choose how you react to it. So today Yesterday I talked about whether you had perhaps a creative project on your heart or something that was like close to being finished, like maybe 75% finished, and you just cannot bring yourself to finish it and actually put it out in the world. And I encouraged you to set a structure for when you would finish that and get it out, and not be a perfectionist about it, because what is perfect anyway? Isn't it better that you share your art with the people that will love it and resonate with it and need it? It's like sometimes people need your art. They need your art because they might be going through something that your art just really speaks to and helps them feel not alone. So hopefully, if you listened to yesterday's video, if all good if you didn't, but yeah, if you listened to yesterday's video, you've now set up the structure for yourself as to what project you want to complete, and sometime in the next week you will have that in your diary to complete it, in whatever time frame you discerned as your needed time frame, but something that is a push that will help you focus as well. It is very easy to get distracted in this day and age, and I want to make sure that we're just getting the art out there, whatever form of art it is. Got some sirens. It's urgency, don't you know? Anyway, so get your art out there, whether it's something you actually call art or it's a group project that you need to do your part on, or you need to organise, or obviously it's a lot quicker and easier to do it fast if it's just something that you can do alone, but then again, sometimes many hands make light work. It just depends if you can get everyone else on board. But I really was talking mostly about a project for yourself, something that's really on your heart. So hopefully you've got that scheduled, and if you're new today and didn't see yesterday's video, that's all good. I just invite you to notice if there's any projects that you've been working on for a while but you haven't really made any progress on lately, and they're really not that far from being finished, and could you maybe make time to get that out there and get it finished, and then next step is getting it out there, because don't overwhelm yourself with the steps to getting it out into the world. Just think about finishing the thing, then you can figure out the next step. So if you're not able to get into flow and finish these things, you have a block, you are always going to be best served by tuning in with yourself. Hopefully it's not too loud. I am outside today. There's some noisiness happening, but hey, it's all fun, isn't it? And that's actually just a reflection of what goes on in the world. When you're trying to focus and tune in, the noisiness happens. So we have to find ways to tune in when we need to, even with the noisiness to a degree. And there is a fine art to doing that. Whether what you need is like just 5 minutes alone, or maybe you need a whole hour alone to just actually tune into how you're going to finish that piece. Just make sure that you're doing that. And this goes for any time in your life you're just feeling a bit disconnected from yourself, or not feeling like, honestly, your emotions are the best barometer. Your emotions tell you if something feels good or feels not so good, and that is great feedback. Thank you, emotions. Even if they're a bad motion, well, what's going on that is not making me feel wonderful? What can I do to change it to feeling wonderful? And look, I know if you're going through the loss of a loved one, you're seriously grieving, there is, I don't mean to steamroll over that. I shared in an earlier video, I'd recently just lost my grandmother, and she was a part of my life, my whole life, and she was the best grandmother that ever grammared, in my humble opinion, and I am going to miss her so much, but I also know she was in a lot of pain, and I'm grateful that I had so much time with her. And it's also been hard because I'm living in a different country and I can't get back for her memorial to actually see and hug my family, and I'm still new to where I am as well, so I can't really find anyone around here to give me a hug that knew her, that we had a shared relationship with her, and it does make it hard. But our grief also shows how much love there was, and I know that that's what I've been working at getting back to, and I do feel a lot better. In recent days, I was a bit of a mess at the start of the week. Maybe it was end of last week now. Oh no, it's the start of this week. But it's because I was staying in hostel and I didn't have anywhere to really sit down and just have a big sob by myself. I mean, I had some moments where I did it. Honestly, I just did it on the train, on the bus, wherever it was. That first day, I cried a litre of tears, I swear. It was quite a feat, actually. But it just shows how much I loved her. And sometimes grief isn't that straightforward. I will give you that. And if you're in a case where the grief isn't straightforward, then that don't make that wrong. Sometimes the grief is complicated, but can you send love to whatever situation or person that's now out of your life, even if you want to wish it all the best and never encounter it again? Can you let go of that part of your life, and feel that beautiful letting go of what may have been holding you back from actually moving forward, taking that time to tune in with yourself on a regular basis, and eventually get your creative projects out into the world. I mean, even just your projects, they don't need to be quote-unquote creative, but honestly, I do think there's a level of creativity to all things we do, and there can be. We can be more creative about how we show up in the world, how we walk to the bus, how we can ride a motorbike, loudly through the neighbourhood. Anyway. But yeah, but then when we feel like a good feeling, well, how much can we choose to follow that more? What if we followed that more and found new ways of showing up? What if we notice ourselves, for instance, in a doom scroll? Can we notice, oh, this doesn't feel so good, and I feel my body contracting, and I feel the drool starting to come out of my mouth, like I'm one of those people in the little movable, I don't know what to call them, in WALL-E, the movie WALL-E, about the robot, and all of the people just have stopped looking after themselves and they don't know how to look after themselves. Can we maybe not go that direction? I feel like sometimes the internet is heading us in that direction, and I know I've talked about AI a little bit, but it's important to keep your mind sharp. Challenge yourself to do stuff without Googling it once in a while, or chat GPTing it if that's something that you've gotten into the habit of. It's still very recent though. Like, if that's a new habit, even if it was 3 years ago you started doing it and you haven't stopped, like, is that actually serving you? If it is, great, perfect, keep doing it. But my point is, make sure that you're actually tuning into, does this feel good in the moment? Or would it feel better if I actually took the time to, say you have to do a quick bit of math. What if I took the extra little bit of time to calculate it in my head, or write it down on a piece of paper and calculate it that way, and instead of just pulling out the calculator, just remind yourself that you can still use those skills. And if you're younger and maybe you grew up in the generation that had, or the generations I should say, that haven't had to rely so much on the pen and paper side of things, please, I encourage you to cultivate that. Like, you don't want to lose that. You don't want to start outsourcing your innate skills, like that, but also outsourcing some very basic skills. Like, if you were in the world 30 years ago before the internet really kicked off, you would struggle to go without those skills. But because we can use the internet for so many things these days, we are not cultivating the brain power to keep ourselves sharp. And I'd much prefer to sit down and read an actual book occasionally, or sit down with a pen and paper, make sure that my handwriting is still working, do some of that math and just keep yourself sharp. And also I've worked on many films and TV shows that are set in an apocalyptic world, and part of me, I don't fearmonger, and I don't want to fearmonger, and I don't want to think that anything crazy like that's going to happen. But sometimes it's like, well, what happens if the internet went down and we lost electricity? What happens if we just didn't have those resources anymore, and then suddenly we have to actually hunt and fight? Do we still have the skills to get through day-to-day life without computers and the internet, as an example? I wonder how much we would struggle. A lot of people would struggle in those situations. I mean, I know there's many things that I wouldn't know how to do. So yeah, we are lucky to be living in a society where we don't have to hunt and gather our own food. We just go and spend money at the supermarket, so we have to have a job to earn the money usually to get it. But we do get to have this beautiful convenience, but just don't let it have you lose your ability to do simple tasks, basically, is my point. Yeah, I got off on a tangent here. What's new? I believe, our emotions really are our barometer. So just, it's feeling into those feelings as you go about your day and noticing when you feel unaligned, but also taking that time to just really tune in the first place so that you can feel when you know what your alignment looks like. So when you're not aligned, you know exactly what you need to do, you know where you're heading, basically. I think it was Abraham Hicks, so I saw a video of Abraham Hicks recently, talk about how people will be on the road somewhere and they will I think they said heading to Vegas or something, but they find themselves only halfway there, and they're in the city halfway between there and where they started from, and they are like, oh, I'm not in the right place, oh, I'm a failure, I suck, it doesn't work, oh. But really, if they're on a road trip and if they didn't pass through the other city, they're still closer to their destination. They just need to keep going. It's just making sure that they know the road's there and they just need to keep going. They will get to their destination eventually. But sometimes when it just feels like we're not there yet, when we feel like we should be, we just have this whole different, we just think, we haven't made any traction whatsoever, and we want to give up and go back to where we started, and that's only going to make things further away, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, does it? So, know that you are on your road with whatever it is that's important to you right now, and you are further down the road than you were, say, 6 months ago, a year ago, whenever you started this. And if you want to get to the destination, just keep going down that road. You got to keep going down that road. So beautiful thing. So it is really important to be taking that time on a regular basis to tune into you, and there's no one more important in your life than you. There might be other people that tell you that they should be more important, but they probably also need to tune into them, and then as two beautiful people who have tuned into them, you can then be in relationship, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, together as two whole human beings that are looking out for their inner worlds first and then collaborating from there. Anyway, I will leave it there for now. I feel like I was a bit more of a rambler today, but I kind of do that every day to a degree. So hopefully something here spoke to you. If it didn't, come back tomorrow, we'll do another round, and maybe I'll have something more potent then. But hey, we're showing up, we're creating stuff, even if it is just a video talking about tuning in on the internet, or without the internet, but I'm putting this on the internet anyway. Have a good one, much love, see you tomorrow.